So first of all, if you could just introduce yourself, your name and your position here, that would be great.
I'm Ana Gomes. I'm a socialist from Portugal. I'm a member of the Socialist and Democrats group here in the European Parliament, and I'm their coordinator for foreign affairs.
Fantastic, thank you. So first of all, what are your current perceptions on Iran?
First of all, my perception is determined by the human rights situation in Iran. It's what concerns me more, and I think this is a very defining element of the current nature of the regime, the nature of the current regime, and of the problems we face. First of all, the Iranians having to live with this regime that systematically violates basic human rights despite the international obligations of Iran, and its implications for the relationship with the rest of the world, because if you don't abide by the rule of law and basic rights at home, you don't abide as well in the relationship with the international community, with other countries. And this is the reason why we have all this conflict with Iran on the nuclear file, which in my opinion is important, but should not lead us to neglect the crucial question, which is the human rights of the Iranians.
Perfect. And having had a look around the exhibition now, was there anything in particular that stood out or caught your eye?
I'm very aware, and we are, I think, in Europe, very aware of the greatness of the Iranian culture, the Iranian civilization. We all learned in school at young ages about the great Persian civilization that is obviously the substract of the Iranian culture today and of the Iranian people. And I think I do also appreciate very much the importance of Iran in the region. And I want to give, I wish that Iran would have a genuinely democratic regime, because I'm sure Iran would stand much taller in the region and in the world with a truly democratic regime, which would not be oppressive of the people. It would have tremendous implications for the security of Iran itself, but also for the security of the region. Now, I believe Iran is a destabilizer of the region. I do understand the concerns of Iran when it comes to existing nuclear powers in the neighborhood, starting with Israel and ending with India and Pakistan, outside of the NPT, all of them. But I don't think that by this cat and mouse game that Iran keeps playing with the nuclear file is good for the Iranian people, and it improves the security of the Iranian people. I think it's outrageous as well, the kind of statements that President Ahmadinejad is all the time making about wiping out Israel from the neighborhood. And I think that the Iranian people now are experiencing even more hardship, adding to the hardship created by the regime with their non-respectful nature in what concerns basic human rights of the Iranian citizens and of the women in particular, and of the different communities of Iran. I know it's a very diverse society, ethnically, religiously, and it's quite oppressive, the current system, but definitely all that is aggravated now with the sanctions regime that is the reaction both of Europe and the United States and other countries as in order to make Iran fulfill its responsibilities in the framework of the NPT and not to pursue this line of pretending that the investment in the nuclear program is just for peaceful purposes, and then not allowing full disclosure, full control by IAEA of what is being done. I know as well that the Iranian society, apart from these tremendous discrimination towards women and groups that do not that profess other religions than Shia Islam, are now enduring the other scourges that are somehow the product of the current global threats we face, and about which the current regime is not that good at containing. On the contrary, I'm thinking about, for instance, the spreading of drugs, which is a scourge of the Iranian society, like many others. But the current regime is not actively dealing with it in this problem in an effective way. Actually, we know that the Pasdaran are actually a source of the spreading of the drugs. To me, clearly, the nature of the current regime doesn't suit the people of Iran, and doesn't allow Iran to have the power that it deserves regionally and globally.
Thank you for that. And just one final question. What do you think, in your opinion, is the best way to reach a democratic system in Iran, so that in order to preserve human rights ultimately?
I don't believe in democracy by the bombing, as Americans and their coalition of the willing tried in Iraq. No. I think it has to come from inside the society. I think people from outside can help by interacting with the civil society, by supporting groups of activists who speak up for freedom of the media, for basic human rights, for all basic liberties in terms of trade and so on. But those from outside cannot replace the fight of the people from inside. And I know that there are very, very brave Iranian men and women. We know about their fight. We know how they came out into the streets in 2009, how they were cruelly repressed, how many of them still, many have lost their lives, many are still in jail, but there are others who keep fighting, and I'm pretty sure that this regime will not last forever. I have lived in a dictatorship in my own country, Portugal, and I know that even though you feel sometimes powerless and you think that this dictatorship is going to last forever, it won't happen. And the people getting organized, getting together on a democratic platform, and making the most of the support from outside, but clearly knowing that it's them who should be in control, and it's them who need to act to get rid of this repressive regime. That is what is going to make it change. And I believe that Iranians sooner rather than later will mobilize and make that change happen.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.